see it anymore. Come on! Crap. Come in! Come in!
You think when you die you go to heaven? You come to us.
Hey, welcome. This is 31 Days of Horror. I'm Stephen Gillum.
And I'm Matt Pitchford.
And what do we review today?
We are reviewing Phantasm V, Ravager.
So you just marathoned the entire Phantasm.
Yeah, about a week ago. Before you even wanted me to review anything, I was just reviewing them for fun because I wanted to build up to part 5.
Which is good because I think we need to recap
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and 4 before we get into Ravager.
Yeah.
So Phantasm 1 came out in 1979. I'm gonna mess up his name. I always do. Don Coscarelli is the director.
Yes.
Director and writer.
He's done Bubba Hotep, Beastmaster.
Yeah.
A few other films.
John dies at the end.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
A good director. He's never really had that huge.
Yeah, he's never broke out or anything, but he's always been like. I don't think he ever really wanted to. I think he's really like into making his own kind of films, and that's what he likes to do.
Yeah. So Phantasm 1. How would you describe it? What do you?
It's like a very dark. The way I see it is kind of like one of those cool nightmares you have, where like cool stuff is happening, but then stuff gets really like surreal and scary at the end, and you wake up in a cold sweat. It has a linear plot, so to speak, but it does kind of like go different routes, and it's like it's kind of funny. I never really realized who the tall man was. Like, because I always thought he was like some type of dark sorcerer or something, but I guess he's more of an alien, and it's really mysterious, and you don't really know, like, you don't know backstories. You're just kind of watching the movie as it goes, and it's filmed very it's really beautiful. It's really dark, just like a perfect old 70s horror film.
You have Mike, who's the youngest brother.
Right.
His older brother Jody.
Right.
And Reggie, their friend who's an ice cream man.
The ice cream man.
Musician.
He's got the coolest ice cream truck I've ever seen. It's like not even a truck. It's like a little like go-kart.
Yeah.
But like the ice cream's in the back. And it's kind of like it has like a Goonies type of aura about it, because it's just one kid, but he's going on in these dark adventures and stuff.
Taking his dirt bike out there.
Yeah, exactly. And
spying on
he knows
his
how to drive this awesome like Barracuda.
Yeah.
And his brother's like this kind of like this cool like guitar player, singer.
And they have to watch. He's watching Mike because their parents.
Yeah, their parents died.
Have died.
Yeah.
So they meet the tall man. You find out the tall man is taking the town's dead people and creating his
he's
minions
creating like
with their bodies.
This race of like minions where he smashes them to the point where they're dwarf size and like they're hooded, and he's basically taking them to another dimension to fight a war.
I don't remember. Did they show that in the first one? Did they show his like the tall man's homeworld?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a home world or a gateway, but Reggie does go through and see it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I could remember the scene. I just couldn't remember when was the first time we got to see it.
Yeah.
So it's through the little.
Yeah, through the little thing, like because they tease it. They tease it at the first with the guitar tuner, where he does like that, and then for him to stop the dimension portal, he has to put his hands on the. I thought that was pretty cool.
So movie ends with kind of like a weird cliffhanger.
It ends abruptly, like very like sudden. And changes the whole, because like Reggie dies, he gets stabbed in the stomach by the girl in lavender, which is the tall man, and drops dead. And Reggie and who's his brother's name? Jody. They get away, and then it cuts to Reggie and Mike sitting in front of a fireplace talking about how Jody had died in a car wreck.
Yeah, it was like, you've been having these nightmares ever since Jody died.
Yeah, but it's like, and then like it ends in a cliffhanger. He goes upstairs and he sees the tall man. The tall man does his boy, and then he gets thrown out of he gets taken in through the mirror.
Just kind of left like, was that a dream or was it real because the tall man showed up?
Yeah,
you don't really know.
I mean, it's kind of a crappy ending, but back then, not so much, you know.
You know, that's kind of like back then you can get away with it.
Yeah,
like now people do it all the time.
Yeah, if you do it now, it's just like, I don't think they did it very well, but still, like, that back then, like, they didn't really do a lot of endings like that.
So 9 years later, Universal, I guess, contacts Don Coscarelli and says they want to do a sequel,
Right.
Phantasm 2, Universal.
Yeah.
And apparently they weren't sure about using the original actors because they hadn't really done a whole lot.
It's just a whole Hollywood thing.
Yeah.
Like, they have no momentum. They are not, they don't have star power, so.
So they made the actors re-audition.
Yeah.
Reggie was the only one who got cast. And then, of course, Angus Scrimm.
Yeah.
And but they recast Mike, and I kind of like the movie. It's definitely a departure, but it's still fun in its own way.
I actually like the actor that played Mike in the second one better than I like. Besides being a kid, like his role as a kid, but later on he gets the part back. I like this guy better than him.
Sure.
I think he's a better actor.
But it picks up right where the first one left off. Well, sort of. Like there's a psychic, this girl Liz,
Right.
who's kind of explaining everything that happened in the first one.
Right, yeah. And she has this connection with Mike, and the whole thing is like, she kind of like gets Mike to snap out of it in a way. He's in like this psychiatric hospital, and it's like she's in danger, and he has to get out of the psychiatric hospital. He has to lie and basically say like, I've never had these hallucinations or whatever. I'm totally normal. I got it now, and they let him go, and Reggie gets him back. And Reggie's character, I guess, does not either remember the first one or it never happened, or you don't really know.
Yeah.
Because Reggie's got a family now, and they travel back to Reggie's house, and like I guess Mike has a vision or something.
Oh, get him out.
Yeah, and the house just explodes, and now Reggie's back on board.
It sends them on their journey. You kind of compare it to like Supernatural.
Yeah,
Like the two guys.
Like
hunting
even
down.
like in an old-fashioned car too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, with
it's
cool
kinda-
weapons.
Yeah, like a quadruple barrel shotgun. I think.
So they are going across. They're finding the tall man's guy, I guess, going town to town,
Yeah.
stealing people from graves, making his little minions.
Yeah, he's pretty much making a wasteland in his because each town is like gone as he goes through them.
Like little ghost towns.
Yeah.
And they team up with Liz eventually.
Yes, they eventually get to the town where Liz is at and team up, and there's another girl as well that they picked up along the way.
So they definitely, everything gets kind of bigger and better in this one. There's more orbs flying around. There's a golden one. They all have
Yeah.
like different little,
Oh,
some
yeah.
shoot lasers, some have like little different drill bits.
Yes, the golden orb was really cool. Like, it had lasers and all kinds of it's very creative. I think it was a solid sequel.
Yeah.
Very solid sequel. Like if the franchise stopped right there, they would have been pretty good.
So that one ends with the car wreck.
Yes.
Tall man taking Liz.
Yeah. Tall man, like the spoilers, the girl that Reggie took in is the tall man, I think. And
He's like a shapeshifter.
yeah, because the tall man is a shapeshifter.
And there might be more than, I guess there are more than one is what you eventually find out.
Yeah, you eventually find out there's more than one tall man, because as soon as he dies, he comes right back out of the dimension. He's like this unbeatable entity. But yeah, the girl changes, and there's another pattern. Reggie dies again, technically, because he gets stabbed or something, eaten or whatever, and he pops up on the window and dies, and then the cliffhanger ending, basically.
So then we go to part 3.
Lord of the Dead.
Yes.
Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead.
Let's
It's
try
my
to do the
favorite
box
one in
set.
the series, so I'd need to remember that. This one is like probably the one I've seen the most. I think I saw the third one before I saw the first one, because in the video store I went to as a kid, they never had the first one. They always had. I don't think they even had the second one. I think they had only the third and fourth one. So I'd always start with the third one, and it's just it's really fun. It starts out, guess who's alive again? Reggie, and he's trying to. He gets Mike back. Liz is dead. Liz dies in the beginning. She's done, and he gets Mike back. Mike is now the actor that was in the first one. They escape the tall man, but the tall man kind of just lets him go. Like, that's kind of a pattern. Like, I think he likes to play. This is a cool little theme. At first I thought it was a cop-out, but it's a cool little theme. It's as if, like, the tall man kind of likes to play with his food a little bit.
And he even mentions, like, you play a good game.
Yeah, it's like all a game with him. And they get Mike to the hospital, and as soon as they get him to the hospital, like a few days later, they're already trying to get Mike back. The tall man's already tried to get him back, and Reggie takes Michael out of the hospital and basically loses him. Tall man kidnaps him, and that's when really the fun begins, because Reggie goes on the road and meets a lot of cool characters. I think his name was Tommy.
The little kid?
The little kid. He's
The
like,
booby-trapped
he
house.
booby-trapped the house, and they kill these 3 like henchmen who had kidnapped Reggie. And he's like this cool. His dad was the sheriff, so he knows how to shoot a gun. Like,
The tall man's been through this.
the tall man went through this town already. And
There's even like a house full of just orphans. The ladies just taking in the
Yeah.
orphans of the dead parents, I guess.
Exactly. And so this little boy, like the little boy, from what I read, was supposed to represent like the youth that Mike had in the first one, pretty much. Like this boy who can pretty much do a lot on his own, and it's kind of like another like Goonies aura. Like, he can shoot, he can do traps, he can take care of himself basically.
Kind of like a really dark Home Alone.
Right. And Reggie's becomes kind of like this father figure. But there's always, they also bring in another female as kind of like a flirty love interest, but she's like one of the coolest characters in the Phantasm series. Her name is Rocky, and she wields nunchucks.
Yeah.
And she's pretty much a badass. And Reggie's pretty much trying to like flirt with her the whole time and trying to get her into a hotel room. And it's kind of weird, but it's just 80s,
Kinda Reggie's
like
character.
early 90s, 80s type stuff. That's what they did back
He
then.
likes the ladies.
Yeah. And it goes from that. I don't really want to spoil the rest of the movie, but there's a face-off between the tall man. It's probably one of the best face-offs that they had, because they get Mike back, and this Jody's back. He's like he's a sphere.
Yeah.
He's a black sphere.
And they don't really trust him because they don't
Yeah,
know
they don't
exactly
trust because they don't know what's going on. But
he kind of gives you the, like, okay, he's fighting it.
Exactly.
He's fighting whatever that's trying to take over.
yeah,
You find out the spheres are actually
the brains of the bodies that they took in. So when they made the dwarf monsters, they took the brains out and put them in the spheres.
which is cool. I like how each movie kind of progresses
Yeah,
the mythology,
yeah.
or the stories
Yeah, exactly.
in ways.
Yeah.
So then I get as fuzzy as it was on 3. I'm even more fuzzy on 4 because 4 I know has tons of flashbacks in it, and I get
Basically what happened is Don Costascarli found old footage that he thought was lost from the first one, because he shot a lot more substance to the first one that they left out, and basically the story goes is Roger Avery, he's a screenwriter. He helped write Pulp Fiction with Tarantino, won an Oscar for it. I think he's done like Silent Hill and stuff like that as well. He was a huge fan of Phantasm, and he wrote like this big budget, like crazy post-apocalyptic screenplay for Phantasm, the next sequel. But they could not get the budget for it.
Yeah.
So, because Don was all on board, but they couldn't get the budget for it. So what they tried to do was make a low budget, like beginning of it,
Okay.
to trying to lead into that one. But it never came into fruition because the part 4 didn't make any money.
Right.
So, but basically, like, there's a lot of flashbacks. There's some pretty cool scenes, but it's very. I think I don't know the budget of part 5, but part 4 was under $1 million.
Okay.
Like very low budget. Like I think like $650,000 it was
Wow.
made for. There wasn't a lot to it, but it was still a fun film.
Sure.
The plot it's not really straightforward. It's just basically like Reggie's doing the same thing he was in part 3, but you don't really have the cool characters. He meets this weird girl or maybe she's not weird, but she turns out to be one of the tall men's creations or whatever. And there's this really cool scene I don't want to spoil, where it has something to do with the female area, I guess.
Yeah.
And
And speaking of that as well, like you find out Mike, I think in the third one, you find out his eyes had speared over. Was in that the third one? And then the fourth, you actually find out he has.
Like
There's one inside of him.
yeah, there's one inside of him, and I think it has something to do with Jody. I think Jody turns on him. It's kind of weird. Jody actually works with the tall man, and the ending is like. It's kind of weird. He like died as they killed Jody. He's like, I actually did die in the car crash. That's literally what he says.
So it's like, it's so hard to kind of tell exactly what's. It's open for interpretation.
Yeah, it's very
what
like
you think happens.
It was like Don had more freedom in this one, I guess. So he kind of did his own thing, but it kind of got lost in translation.
And it ended with Mike going into another dimension looking for the tall man. Reggie.
Right. Yeah.
As well.
Reggie. Yeah.
Kinda
like
continuing the
quest.
quest.
Mike's Phantasm V, I think, left his head.
Oh, okay.
And Reggie, like Mike's like dying, and Reggie is like, I'm gonna go after the tall man, and that's how it ends. And then there's an explosion. No, they try to blow up the tall man. That's the explosion.
That's right. They did. They thought,
Yeah.
yeah. So now jump to Ravager, Part 5. We'll try to keep this one spoiler free because it's pretty new. It just came out on a video on demand. That's hit some theaters as well.
Right.
But I guess starting off, I mean, I heard about this a few years ago that they were gonna do a Phantasm V, and Don Coscarelli wasn't gonna direct. And I was like kind of disappointed, but he was still gonna. He wrote it and he produced it.
Yeah.
The new director,
Phil something Hartman, I think.
yeah, he's directed a lot of TV, like animated TV shows and stuff.
Weird choice, really.
And I'd read that they originally wanted to make this into like a series, and they'd filmed
a web series. I
Yeah,
think.
and you can kind of tell when you watch it, like it feels very episodic, and they just kind of pieced them together and put in tied it all in. But I guess once they got far enough, like let's just make this a movie and make it the final. Because Angus Scrimm at the time was up in age. He was, this is his final
he was
film.
in his 90s.
Yeah.
He just recently passed away, though, so this is his final film.
But still did an awesome job as the tall man.
I was really surprised how good his performance was. Like, I don't know of many people that are in their 90s that could still like remember their lines and speak like he did. But it was just like, aside from a little more age, it was just like looking like he was a tall man. He was still a tall man. I could have done with. I wish there was more of him, honestly.
And he played more than he plays the tall man, and he also played the character they introduced in the fourth one. I guess
Yeah,
the
that's
body
one.
he
Yeah,
kind of.
the one thing I forgot to say about the fourth one is like they go into the tall man's history, and like he was this scientist named Jebediah who found a way into the dimensions, and basically what they go into is once he found his way through dimension travel, something happened and he turned into the tall man.
Came back.
Yeah, there's
kind of new.
Yeah, the story from that point on doesn't really explain how he became the tall man. It's just he was Jebediah, a nice scientist, nice old man who became the tall man.
So it's hard to.
It's really hard to explain the plot.
And it's hard to go without spoiling too much.
Right.
But Reggie is the main
Reggie,
character.
yeah, Reggie is the main character.
All the original cast do come back.
Yes.
To make appearances.
Yes.
But it's split into kind of three.
There's like
different narratives.
Yeah, three narratives, and it makes you want to second guess the whole series, which
And like each narrative kind of addresses the different things from the different.
Yeah, like
ones
there's
like this happened or maybe this happened.
Or what if nothing happened at all?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how it goes, and there's some cool action and whatnot, but it's very, very low budget, extremely low budget.
Kind of giving up on the practical effects to do the more
Yeah,
the
it's
cheaper
more
CGI.
CGI. It's like
Tell the blood and stuff.
It goes into like I think it goes into what they wanted to do from going back to Roger Avery's script, what they wanted to do, like this post-apocalyptic, like the tall man is winning, he's taking over most of the country. Like this is the type of world you're gonna get to see.
And you can see in the trailer, like there's now giant spheres that are like hovering over cities. And
I thought that was really cool, but I think what that does though, it also like takes away from the tall man's like enigma, because now you're going basically full alien.
Yeah.
He's full extraterrestrial now.
Sure.
Because I think earlier on in the series there was this tall man like broke apart and there's like this weird black tentacles coming out. I think it's either part 2 or part 3. And so you're like, oh, he is an alien, but there's still like this enigma to him, like what? But now it's like a full like aliens are taking over the world type of thing, like this interdimensional like travesty on the world.
The movie is supposed to be the final. They say this is the final film, but it ends in a way that doesn't really give a lot of closure. It was one of my complaints. It's like, I didn't get closure, and it leaves it kind of open ended where you're like, I want to see more of what happens
there
next.
Wasn't really I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but it just because I keep wanting to say like the plot, but
sure.
It doesn't give you what you were wanting. It didn't give me what I was wanting, and I think my fault in this was I marathoned all 4, got my expectations so high for the 5th one, because it's like I get to watch all 4, and now there's a 5th one right here.
Yeah.
And it just like it. I should have just watched it on its own, because I really did not enjoy it as much as I think I would have if I watched it on its own.
Sure.
Because my expectations were so high.
And I'll say, I think no matter what, any type of Phantasm movie, I'm going to enjoy, have fun with it. But yeah, it was not my favorite in the series. I'm glad that it's made. I kind of wish there was maybe another one, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I think it would be a good series to reboot in a way.
Oh yeah.
Like what they have done before, more of like an Evil Dead reboot. How good they did with that film. I think if done right, they could make a decent film, and it would be really cool to see someone like take on the tall man role. Like, there's no one who's going to replace Angus, but to see, I would love to see Phantasm continue on somehow.
Right.
Because it really is a very interesting series when it comes to horror films, because it's really like no other horror film. It's not a slasher. It's kind of alien, not really. It's very dark. Like every time, like I'll watch Phantasm or whatever, and then you take like a few years break. I always forget what he is. I always keep thinking he's like this like demonic sorcerer of some sort.
Right.
Because there's so much mysterious to that character. You don't get to see much.
That's kind of the neat thing too, is you're never told exactly what he is. He's always kind of left up to like,
it's like, you know who Jason is, you know who Freddy is, you know who these guys are, you know their agenda. There's so much mystery. There's so much mystery for the tall man.
Yeah. Are you familiar with our rating scale?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So if you did not like the movie, you can give it a poop. I think I would not give this one a poop rating.
I wouldn't go that far to give it a poop rating.
Or if you enjoyed the movie, give it like a found object in the movie or something from the movie.
I'm going to give it 2.5 smiling Jebediahs.
All right. I'm going to give it 3. I'm going to go cliche because it goes into my prop build later. 3 spears.
Yeah, I didn't want to take that away from you. I'm like, he's going to go spears, so I'm not going to take that away from him.
But yeah, I definitely think check it out. It's on video on demand now. I think it's in a few select theaters.
Yeah.
Along with the remastered.
It can be found on Amazon Video.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll be on Netflix one of these days.
Yep.
But it's definitely worth checking out.
And check out the remastered Blu-ray of Phantasm.
The whole series is remastered now, and I even though I say like go in it with low expectations, but like really watch the whole series. It's great. The whole series is great.
So we have one of the spheres here. I'm just gonna go into how put this together. Started off with I bought a Christmas ornament. I did not check the package. It says made of glass. I should have read that. It's right there on the box, big as day. So I get it back to the studio and I'm working on it and shatters on me. I'm like, oh no. And this is the night before we're doing the review. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? I get up early, find a place, the Christmas tree store, which I'm assuming sells all Christmas decorations year round. It's not. It's like a hodgepodge of. It's like a fancy Big Lots.
Yeah.
But they did have this string of ornaments, so I had several of these, and even some gold ones. So we could do the special gold sphere.
Awesome.
But these are made of plastic, so I was able to take a bolt. I got like Home Depot. I was hot glued that in there and take these little blades. These are just made out of cardboard, and I put some of that gold foil tape on there. Just put them on both sides and glued that in there. And I even have some other ones that we're going to use for props that you can throw, and you have some on some fishing line that kind of glide along. So if you want to make your own Phantasm sphere, there you go. It's probably cost. I mean, the little strand of orbs cost. It was $10 for the whole thing. Okay. The bolt was like, I don't know, less than $1. It's like some change. So
like great Halloween, like something cool for Halloween.
Yeah. So for about $11, you can make you a little sphere.
Nice.
So yeah, that about wraps it up. A little recap of the entire series and Phantasm V Ravager review. So we'll see you next time.
Hopefully I'll be back.
Oh, it really is an amazing story.
Epic, actually.